This episode contains discussions of domestic violence and an abusive stepfather. Listen at your own discretion. It is Sunday, the 5th of January, 2025. My name is Pigeon Rose, and this is my song of the day. Here we are at the end of New Year's week, and I knew from the start that I would have to, around New Year's, talk about this song. That song is This Year by the Mountain Goats. If you know this song, you already know why I'm talking about it. And if you don't know this song, that's surprising, frankly. I think this is kind of one of their most known ones outside of fan circles. Like, people know No Children, because it was in a bunch of TikToks a few years ago, and it was in Moral Oral on Adult Swim. But, like, people hear This Year all over the place, and it gets referenced a lot. So I feel like most people know it at this point, even in passing. And it's like they perform it live all the time, and they've performed it on like Stephen Colbert and shit, with Stephen Colbert singing along with them. It's penetrated pop culture is what I'm saying. And it's a great song, and I don't think I need to give it too much of a setup, because I've already talked about who the Mountain Goats are. This is from the album The Sunset Tree, though, I will say that. And that is a concept album that is largely about John Darnielle's childhood growing up with an abusive stepfather, and that is referenced in this song, as you will hear. So, yeah, let's go listen to it now and then come back in a few minutes and talk about it. And that was This Year by the Mountain Goats. I think you understand now, if you didn't before, why I'm talking about that song today. The refrain of, I'm gonna make it through this year if it kills me. I consider talking about it on New Year's Eve, but I think it makes more sense to listen to it going into the new year. You know, I'm gonna make it through this year if it kills me. My friend likes to tweet each new year, made it through the year, didn't kill me. I doubt they'll be tweeting it this year, but maybe on Blue Sky they'll post it. But it's something I think about a lot, you know, just this idea of, I'm gonna make it through this year if it kills me. It's a great call to action, and I'm probably not being hyperbolic when I say that this has probably saved a lot of people's lives, this song, you know, and just that sentiment, you know. Incidentally, considering what we were talking about yesterday was the garages who I previously talked about in my Desert Bus week, Ben from Loading Ready Run, Ben Ulmer, will often perform this song on Desert Bus on request. I believe he did so last year, so that's fun. Maybe I'll link it down below, I don't know. Anyway, so this song, like I said, is from the Sunset Tree album, which is largely a concept album about John Darnielle's childhood with his abusive stepfather, and this song is about trying to be optimistic, trying to look ahead to better times and escape from the bad shit at home just for a little while. And that's why it's got this refrain of, I'm going to make it through this year if it kills me. So let's read the lyrics, shall we? I broke free on a Saturday morning. I put the pedal to the floor, headed north on Mills Avenue, and listened to the engine roar. My broken house behind me and good things ahead. A girl named Kathy wants a little of my time. 6 cylinders underneath the hood, crashing and kicking. Aha! Listen to the engine whine. I am gonna make it through this year if it kills me. I am gonna make it through this year if it kills me. So, I do want to say, actually, I do love, I say this so much in songs, but, you know, it starts with the piano, and you have the bass guitar, and then the acoustic guitar, and the drums are just doing this, like, and that just gives it this, it feels optimistic, the music does. I don't know what it is about it. It's just something about it feels really cool and driving, and like, yeah, we're going to do this, you know. Take your shot every time I say that a song has a driving beat. You'll have liver cancer by August. Anyway, I broke free on a Saturday morning. I put the pedal to the floor, headed north on Mills Avenue, and listened to the engine roar. So, John Darnielle grew up, at least partially, in Claremont, California, and Mills Avenue is a place in Claremont, California. So he's talking about driving up there, possibly on a motorbike, because he does mention a motorbike, but I wouldn't say so, because he mentions this is about being in a car. So I broke free is very pointed phrasing, you know. I broke free on a Saturday morning. I escaped, you know. I escaped imprisonment. I put the pedal to the floor, head north of Mills Avenue, listened to the engine roar. This is a little thing of freedom, of rebellion, you know, hearing the engine roar. This is the sound of escape, you know. And then my broken house behind me and good things ahead. I mean, that just tells you the whole thing in one line. He calls it a broken home, you know, because it's abusive. There's domestic violence going on, and he says that's behind him and good things are ahead of him, just showing you the kind of theme of this song of trying to leave that behind and go into better things. And then he follows that up with, a girl named Kathy wants a little of my time. So he's like presumably meeting up with a girlfriend or something. 6 cylinders underneath the hood, crashing and kicking. So this is referring to a V6 engine, which is a V engine with 6 cylinders, and he says it's crashing and kicking. He says listen to the engine whine. Gives you a very specific image, I feel like a beater of a car, you know. And then I'm gonna make it it through this year if it kills me. So he's talking about having this kind of optimistic view, trying to go to better things, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna make it through this year if it kills me. And then the next bit, I played video games in a drunken haze. I was 17 years young, hurt my knuckles punching the machines, the taste of scotch rich on my tongue. And then Kathy showed up and we hung out, trading swigs from a bottle all bitter and clean, locking eyes, holding hands, twin high maintenance machines. I am gonna make it through this year if it kills me. I'm gonna make it through this year if it kills me. So, he played video games in a drunken haze, punched the machine, taste of scotch rich on his tongue when he mentions he's 17 years young. I mean, he's mentioned playing video games and stuff in interviews and in songs. He actually has a song called Thank You Mario, but Our Princess is in Another Castle. It's a great song. It's from the perspective of Toad. Anyway, so he's talking about just like, coping by drinking as a teenager and punching his machine, which gives you a very specific image of like a hurt teenager lashing out, And then Kathy showed up and we hung out, trading swigs from a bottle all bitter and clean. Just this image of these rebellious teenagers meeting up and having this moment of peace between them. But also, they're trading swigs from a bottle, which is like, destructive behavior for teenagers, and they're doing it with each other. So they're kind of a bad influence, even if it's to cope with his home life. And then locking eyes, holding hands, twin high maintenance machines. He's saying that they're like, Genie says they're double trouble. Yeah, they both have their issues and they're kind of relying on each other to prop each other up. And then you get the chorus again of I'm gonna make it through this year if it kills me. And then the final bit, I drove home in the California dusk. I could feel the alcohol inside of me hum, pictured the look on my stepfather's face, ready for the bad things to come. I downshifted as I pulled into the driveway, the motor screaming out, stuck in second gear. The scene ends badly as you might imagine, in a cavalcade of anger and fear. There will be feasting and dancing in Jerusalem next year. I'm gonna make it through this year if it kills me. I am gonna make it through this year if it kills me. So, he drives home in the California dusk. It tells you it's much later. You can feel the alcohol inside of him hum. This makes so much sense to me. You can really, there's a specific feeling you get when you're drunk. You can feel the alcohol inside of you hum. I can't think of a better way to phrase it. It's just accurate description. Picture the look on my stepfather's face, ready for the bad things to come. So he's coming home and he's remembering the reality he has to come home to, I downshifted as I pulled into the driveway, the motor screaming out, stuck in second gear. So, just talking about the car being shit again. And then the scene ends badly as you might imagine, in a cavalcade of anger and fear. So his stepdad is immediately yelling at him and upset that he was, presumably drunk driving, and leaving the house, presumably without his approval, And then it ends, the verse ends with this line, which is very interesting to me, but there will be feasting and dancing in Jerusalem next year. So this is a line that I only understand because of Futurama. Or specifically the Back to the Futurama podcast, because I think it's in episode 2, Bender says, next year in Jerusalem. And that's what this line is referencing as well. It's a thing you say at Passover. I'm just going to read from Genius here because I'm not very knowledgeable about this. It's about the Messiah coming and reuniting all the Jewish people in Israel any second now. Well, maybe in a while. Okay, next year. Next year at this time, we'll all be celebrating the Seder in Jerusalem. So that's what it's referencing here. And so I feel like him referencing it here, he's saying there will be feasting and dancing in Jerusalem next year, is him saying that I'm in the shit now, but I will have a savior. Something will come and save me in the future. I have to just look forward to the future, and then immediately following it with I'm gonna make it to this year if it kills me, to kind of underline that point. I love this song. I love the message it sends. It's not one I listen to often. There are other Mountain Goat songs I listen to more, but sometimes you're just specifically in the mood for this song, you know what I mean? And you gotta listen to it this year because you're gonna make it through this year if it kills you. And that's just the way it crumbles cookie wise. Yeah. So that's going to be it for this song, and indeed for this week. I will say, actually, there is a music video for this song, which is the band having been presumably kidnapped and injured and performing with blood streaking down their face and stuff. It's good. John looks fucking manic in it as he's got blood running down the side of his face. He's going, I am going to make it through this year if it kills me. It's funny. Anyway, that's the end of this week. So the end of New Year's week. Next week is unthemed, but I was like, okay, I'm in the last few months. I'm in the new year. You've stuck with me this long. It's time to get weird with it, which is to say next week, I'm going to be talking about a really, really, really long song that I love. And you have to listen to it because that's the contract you signed when you started listening to this podcast. So suck it, I guess. Anyway, until then, thank you so much for listening. Please hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Tell other people about this show. Thank you so much for listening. I will talk to you tomorrow.
Break it down.